Very good morning to you. It is 7 a.m. Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Please excuse the clunkiness here. I also work for a radio station in New York City, a talk radio station, and there was a chance we were going to have to simulcast this morning. So this would have been for the radio and this would have been for the TV. So we haven't quite removed the radio mic. We'll do that, but I think it sounds nice. What do you think, Pam? Yes? Pam, our director. She says she likes it. It gives me mellifluous tones. I practiced that word all morning. We'll take your calls right now at 888-658-0234. Pam, I should let you know we need to reset it, by the way. Need to reset phones. 888, for real, 888-658-0234. Sunny, hazy, warmer today. This is, if you thought yesterday was a little foreshadowing of summer, here's the foreshadowing right here. Highs in the low to mid 80s, and it'll get warmer over the next few days. We head straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta. Con la prima guardia, would you say? Would that be proper?
The
La
prima vista, yeah. The
Prima
first look.
vista.
The first look. I feel left out. I feel like I have to bring in the radio mic too. Yeah, we got dueling mics here.
Ding, 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 ding. That they do. That matches your suit perfectly. That's great.
We'll try. It casts a pretty big shadow. Got the sunny suit on today, right, Ken? Because it feels like summer. It's light clothing over the next several days because it's going to be hot around here, especially with the heat and humidity building throughout tomorrow and Thursday. Today, there's actually a chill in the air. 46 degrees up in Sussex, 61 right now in Newark, and down toward Cape May, 61 degrees for you. We start off chilly, but gradually warm up through this morning and warm quickly into this afternoon. By the end of the day, I think you really feel the heat kick in. 7 degrees warmer right now as opposed to this time yesterday. So there is a little bit more humidity in the air. There's also a little bit more warmth, and that only builds through the next few days. Winds are light right now, but notice they start to blow in off of the water, allowing for a little bit of a cooler feel through this afternoon. The trouble with that is there's a lot of particulates in the air, all due to the Canadian wildfire smoke that will begin to impact our air quality over the next few days. So here's the dark shade of smoke that the satellites are picking up and all the monitoring instruments in space. This is where the wildfires are, and they're actually diving. The smoke is diving south over the Midwest and then coming back up and curling around offshore. It's all due to the weather pattern that's allowing for that big swirl of smoke in our atmosphere to drop our air quality number. So anytime this number gets above 100, that's a little bit of a cause for concern, especially those that are sensitive to the particulates in the air, those sensitive and with asthma and respiratory issues, because even 90 is pushing it there on the edge of there on ship bottom and LBI. So that's something to monitor over the next few days, especially as our clear weather pattern keeps our skies nice and sunny and cloud-free, but it allows the air high in the sky to sink closer to the ground, and that could lower air quality this afternoon and tomorrow. Throughout today, temperatures otherwise will feel great. 83 over in Trenton, 80 in Hackensack, cooler at the coast with that wind off of the water, and then by the overnight, we cool off only into the 60s, allowing for a jump in temperatures tomorrow. 90 in Newark, 89 in Hackensack, and 85 over toward Medford. So a much warmer afternoon. Thursday begins in the 70s, muggy, and wow, climbs into the mid-90s. 94 in Newark, 95 in Hackensack by the end of the day Thursday. That southwesterly wind really pushing in some of that heat and humidity, even 93 in Trenton. Beyond that, I think it stays warm going into Friday, but there is some more cloud cover that comes in by the end of the work week. So Friday, while it'll be humid, may not be as hot, only because of the limited amount of sunshine that comes in with those extra clouds in play, keeping our temperatures warm, but it's the mugginess that sticks around. By later Friday night, we could have our first chance of some showers as that front approaches from the west for Friday night into Saturday, and then temperatures start to cool off into the end of the weekend. We'll detail that weekend forecast, Ken, coming up with another check of your forecast in just a few minutes.
Did I hear the dog?
No? That was the floor creaking.
I love it. I heard this little time. I was like, is that a dog? Oh, wow.
A little
cool.
growl. No, he is fast asleep on his bed in his little nook.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. Does he ever stay like on the floor next to you there when you're doing the weather?
Well, we get him a little house, we call it, and when we tell him to go to his house, he knows where to go. It's that little cutout under the stairs. We put a dog bed, so it's his, and he's very comfortable there.
They love their
sometimes
own
we'll hear him
space, don't
snoring.
they?
Hmm.
I love it. I love it. Oh, the peace of a dog's sleep. That's great. All right, Mike, we'll check back, bud. Thank you. 52 degrees, beautiful sunny morning. I mean, this is just really a gorgeous morning to wake up to and go outside to. Lovely. And it's chilly. I mean, as Mike said, it feels a little chilly because it's still not it's relatively dry. Relatively. It's going to all change tomorrow and the day after, but still relatively dry. Let's take a look at a pretty traffic cam. And I say pretty because it's not full of traffic. Isn't that nice? This is mile marker 129.0 south of exit 129 Tower. So this would be in the area near Island. Actually, specifically, New Jersey Turnpike intersection is right nearby in Fords. That's what that is. So, but look at how pretty that looks. I just figured I'd show you with the bright sunshine to give you an idea of how nice the sunshine is at this hour of the morning. We only really have roving repairs on Route 35 northbound from Route 36 in Eatontown to north of Broadway in Keyport. The right lane is closed. Again, that's on Route 35. We have delays at the Holland Tunnel from the New Jersey side into Manhattan right now. We're told it's about 20 minutes. Oftentimes it's about 10 minutes longer at this hour. So 20 minutes is doable. And Route 3 eastbound from Route 21 to East Rutherford, all lanes are open, but there's about a 2-mile delay through there. Route 23 southbound by Echo Lake Road in West Milford, all lanes are open. But again, a brake check, slow down. That's all we got. I'll take it. Let's take a look at the 8095 approach to the GWB. It's heavy, but that's not horrible. It's about 40 minutes right now at the lower, about 45 at the upper. Uppers on the right. Otherwise, like I said, we got about 35 at the Lincoln. I'm sorry, 25 at the Lincoln and 20 at the Holland right now. Our time is 7:06, and we have our news now. 2 Elizabeth men, Dalvin Javier Sanchez and Javier Criado, were arrested in a Somerset County firearms probe. A May 7th raid on 2 homes uncovered 8 handguns, including an Uzi-style weapon and a ghost gun, plus high-capacity magazines, hollow point ammo, 12 pounds of marijuana, and cash. Both face multiple charges, including illegal firearms possession and drug distribution. They're being held at Somerset County Jail. 7:07, Hoboken police arrested 24 people after a 2-month investigation into illegal drug activity near the 300 block of Jackson Street. After a number of complaints from residents there, the HPD Street Crimes Unit seized 36 grams of crack cocaine, 106 grams of heroin, and nearly $700 in cash. 9 people are facing serious drug distribution charges, carrying up to 10 years behind bars. Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala faces allegations of fixing over 250 parking tickets since 2005, all dismissed according to a whistleblower's letter to prosecutors. The claims, raised just before the June 10th Assembly primary, allege improper dismissals by Hoboken's municipal court. Let's just give a little background. In the state of New Jersey, for people who don't realize who just moved here, a lot of people who run for local office, like mayor of a town, they hold a state office, like state assembly. Okay. And also, in all the years I've lived in New Jersey, this is like the ongoing thing. People get to know the mayor and they would say, "Hey, Joe, I got a parking ticket." This is the story I've known. Pam, you probably know too, right, Director? Everybody knows the mayor of their town, and you got a parking ticket. And if it's the first time, they fix it, whatever. So I don't know what the story is here, but unless there was like thousands of dollars transferred into a bank account, it is not unusual for a mayor to say, "All right, no, we'll dismiss a ticket." Just putting it out there. So Bala's team calls it a smear campaign timed for his competitive race for the 32nd district for the assembly. Just putting it out. Bala denies any wrongdoing as the crowded Democratic primary heats up. That's the amazing thing, because you can't win as a Republican in his town. So it becomes a race of the more liberal. Oops, sorry about that. Maybe I should go switch back to the lavalier mic. The more liberal Democrat versus the more conservative Democrat. That's really what it comes down to in certain New Jersey towns. 7:09, Jennifer Nelson, who's the wife of Manalapan Mayor Eric Nelson, was charged with third-degree theft on Friday. Freehold Township police say the 52-year-old allegedly stole over $5,200 in cash and jewelry from a home where she worked as a housekeeper for 8 years. Police say some items were found at a pawn shop. Mayor Nelson, who is running for re-election, has not made any comment. New Jersey lawmakers advanced a bill to make the state's vaccine registry opt out by default, passing the Senate Health Committee on a 5-3 vote. That means that automatically you will not be included on the registry. You have to opt in to be included on the registry. Now, the measure allows health officials to mandate registry inclusion, though, if there is a public health emergency. So, for instance, in the event that we had a COVID scare again, then you would automatically be included because they have to know who's vaccinated and who isn't. despite this opt-out rule that they're now passing. Senator Joe Vitale insists that privacy and exemptions remain protected, but critics like Senator Holly Schapese warn that it could undermine personal choice. 7:10, New Jersey state senators clashed yesterday over a resolution that urges the Board of Public Utilities to probe PJM Interconnection's capacity market auction after a nearly tenfold electricity price hike hit consumers. So those of you who've been following your electric bill, especially this past winter, you notice it going up and up and up to the point of just ridiculous. The electric bill, the heating bills, through the roof. This measure passed 25-12 along party lines, blaming PJM's slow approval of renewable projects for supply shortages. Republicans countered that Governor Murphy's renewable energy push and stalled offshore projects are driving up costs with demand surging, AI data centers, and electrification. So to have these, everybody wants AI and they want their computer storage. Those devices, those computer storage centers, they run electrically 24/7 and require enormous amounts of electricity. In fact, in many cities in America, they are building small nuclear power plants just to power the one storage facility, let alone the tens of thousands of people who live in the cities. So that's how much electricity these things draw. So every time you pick up your phone and you want, let's do cloud storage, consider that literally that's what it takes to power something like that. This resolution awaits Assembly approval while a separate bill to study data centers impact heads to Murphy's desk. I don't know why you need to study the impact. Just look at every other state and the impact. But this is what Democrats in New Jersey do. Let's waste time by spending a couple of $1 million wastefully to study it. This way, you know what it is? This way, Murphy can leave office and say he didn't spend that money. The next guy has to deal with it. It's a game. 7:12, we've been telling you that 64 Tesla supercharger facilities will be removed from the New Jersey Turnpike as the Highway Authority ends Tesla's contract that they've had for years, the first one ever. For no reason, 2 years ago, they decided to opt out. Instead, they chose Apple Green to install 240 universal EV chargers across all 21 service areas. Now, Apple Green is supposedly universal, but as friends of mine who have electric cars say, that my friends say, this is not my quote, they suck. They suck. It'll take you like 4 times the amount of time to charge your car, especially if it's a Tesla using an Apple Green. But it's generic and you could use it for any car. Elon Musk calls the move corruption on X, but Tesla says it is prepared with 116 of its own off-turnpike stalls ready for customers. So here's the deal. Elon Musk, when they were confronted by the state with the fact that, hey, there are other companies other than Tesla, although Tesla has like 70% of the electric car share, 70 or more, maybe 80% now. The government came and said, look, you have to be able to accommodate these other cars. So Musk said, okay, we'll do it. And Tesla offered to add adapters to their superchargers that would work with almost every electric car on the market today. All right. So, and it wouldn't have cost the state a penny more. But New Jersey said, nope. Why would they say nope? Did it have anything to do with Elon Musk and his friendship with Donald Trump and the fact that New Jersey's state assembly, Senate, and governor are all liberals? Just saying. While the state made the decision to add Apple Green chargers to the Turnpike 2 years ago, originally they were supposed to add them side by side to the Tesla superchargers. It's only in the last month they decided, you know what, get your freaking superchargers out of here, you Trump supporter. That's the way liberals running New Jersey function. They don't give a damn about the environment. They don't give a damn about the constituents. They're pissed off at the Republicans, so take out your damn superchargers. And they gave them like 2 weeks to get rid of the superchargers. That's liberals in New Jersey. Consider that when you go to vote. Do not vote D. 7:14, as your teen hits the road for summer getaways and Jersey Shore beach days, you can breathe easier. Consumer Affairs ranks New Jersey's teen drivers as the best in the country, with, thank God, 0 fatalities involving teens under the influence and just 3.73 fatalities per 100,000 teens, well below the national average. Just do me a favor. I know a lot of kids are vaping. They're vaping cannabis now. A lot of kids do that. So they're not drinking. It's not the thing anymore to drink, but a lot of kids are now substituting. They're vaping and they're vaping cannabis in many cases. Just make sure that's not what your kid is substituting when he or she drives. Delaware's teens, by the way, rank 3rd worst. Imagine the state next door with high rates of dangerous driving there. A University of Kansas professor is among the plaintiffs suing New Jersey to allow DNA testing of evidence from Pam, the 1932 Lindbergh baby kidnapping and murder case. The lawsuit filed in Mercer County challenges the state police's denial of access to the case archives. Why would you still deny access almost 100 years later? Historian Jonathan Hagel says DNA from ransom notes could reveal if Bruno Hauptmann, executed in 1936, acted alone. The case, which gripped the nation, remains unsolved in the eyes of many scholars. Remember, look it up. It involved a ladder on the side of the house of Lindbergh, the most famous aviator of his day, who lived here in New Jersey. 7:15, the New Jersey Education Association has poured $40 million into a pro-Sean Spiller PAC, Working New Jersey, to boost its president's gubernatorial campaign. The PAC spent $37.5 million to make Spiller a household name in a crowded six-way Democratic primary, funded entirely by NJEA's super PAC, Garden State Forward. Despite massive ad blitzes, recent polls show that Spiller's really trailing, using all of its union members' money, whether the union members wanted to spend money on him or not, raising questions about the union's strategy. If you're a member of the teachers union and you're a Republican, and your union is literally taking all your union dues and pumping it into the president to run for governor, I would have a little conversation with the union or the people you vote for repping you. Critics, including some NJEA members, call the spending a misuse of teachers' dues. Yeah, you think? While the union is defending it. Why? Because their president is the guy running for governor as a stand for working families. New Jersey added over 9,400 voters overall in May, with unaffiliated voters leading the surge. That always seems to be the case, adding 4,472 new registrants. Think about it. The new voters are usually either younger people or immigrants or people who move in from other states, and they don't know the game yet. Republicans are the ones who did pretty much the best, though, outside of independents. Republicans gained 2,768 voters, outpacing the Democrats, who added 2,226. And that was their strongest showing in months. Democrats have been losing voters, actually. Despite the GOP's 53-month streak of closing the gap, Democrats still hold an 827,000 voter lead, with 2.45 million Democrats and 1.62 million Republicans. There are 2.42 million unaffiliated voters, and those are the people, the unaffiliateds, who now have been siding more and more with the Republicans to push Republicans over the top. So the thought is we'll see a change, especially let's take a look at what happens during the June 10th primaries, which are next Tuesday. Newark Airport customers will see more flights and fewer delays after a closed runway reopened yesterday. Increased flight schedules are slated to resume on June 15th. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy held a news conference at Newark Liberty's brand new Terminal A building, where he made the announcement that one of Newark's huge 11,000-foot runways that had been closed for much-needed repairs has reopened 13 days ahead of schedule. You go. And he thanked everybody for working very hard.
And so we had a glitch in the system. The FAA did a remarkable job fixing the glitch in our software. But then Verizon stood up and said, you know what? We are going to make this a priority. We're going to fix the not-so-great line that goes from the Philly Tracon up to N90 here in New York. And they did that in record time, in less than a month's time. Now,
by the way, you have a glitch. You talked about the glitch. You know what a tiny glitch is called? A son of a glitch. Mike, you remember that from yesterday. There we go. All right, 7:18 right now. By the way, the announcement that Sean Duffy made follows weeks of canceled and delayed flights at Newark's airport due to a shortage of air traffic controllers, software, and infrastructure issues, and that closed runway that just got reopened. The FAA has been slowing arrivals and departures at the airport due to those problems, leaving thousands of passengers with delayed flights or cancellations. And you'll notice that because there are fewer flights in and out of Newark every day now, prices have come up. Think of the New Jersey-based jobs that you have worked over the years. When you went in for the job interview, you had no idea what kind of money they would offer you. Well, as of June 1st, just the other day, that all changed. There's now a new law in the books that requires most businesses in New Jersey to tell you a range of what you can expect to be paid, much like a similar law that's been in effect for a few years in New York City. It is called the Pay and Benefit Transparency Act. The new law states that all businesses with 10 or more employees must post a salary range or hourly range for most positions that are open. They must describe benefits associated with the job for the first year as well. And they must notify current employees of other available positions, among other things. Companies failing to comply could face some big fines. It is 52 degrees now. It's 7:19, and we'll be back in just a moment with New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein and the political scene with the Inside Edge. We'll be right back. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings for your Tuesday. I'm Ken Rosato at 7:20, and we are taking calls at 888-658-0234. Sunny, hazy, warmer today, very summer-like, highs on the low to mid-80s. It'll get warmer in the next few days, right? To meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Ken, good morning. 80s on the way today. Some really warm weather. A little bit of a cool down at the beaches, so you enjoy that sea breeze later today from Long Branch down toward Point Pleasant and Toms River. Notice back west of the Parkway, that's where we'll hit the low 80s, even from Roosevelt, New Brunswick, and back over through Princeton. Lots of sun on the map throughout this afternoon, and a little bit of extra pollen, especially where the landscapers are using the lawnmowers and the leaf blowers. I saw clouds of pollen yesterday when the crews were cleaning the street. I mean, it was pretty intense. So yeah, weeds and grasses a little bit higher. Molds have dropped thanks to the drier weather. So with all of the clear sky that's around, this shows the cloud cover. What it doesn't show is that particulate matter and smoke, which I'll talk about again from those Canadian wildfires. So it's nice and dry throughout the next several days and really sunny. This is the time of year within 2 weeks of the summer solstice that the UV climbs to a 9 in New Jersey. That is the sunniest yet, considered very high on the scale between 8 and 10. And I think we could, in some places, maybe south of Atlantic City, briefly get to a 10 right around the solstice itself in about 2.5 weeks. So going forward, we're nice and clear. We stay dry. The futurecast doesn't have a cloud on it, but there might be a pretty sunset with a little bit of that smoke particulate matter, giving us a really orangey looking sunset later on this evening. As far as the end of the day, temperatures climb quickly into the mid 80s, maybe touching the low 90s away from the shore. Tomorrow's another warm start, but it's the humidity that today will feel dry compared to the next few days. Dew points are in the 50s, which is comfortable. That's the measure of moisture in the atmosphere, or the temperature where the air is saturated. But by tomorrow afternoon, we climb into the 60s. And then once we get into the upper 60s and close to 70, like will be the case on Thursday in spots, that's downright tropical. And you start to see those numbers pop up here, especially towards Sussex, Morristown, back over by Flemington, and down by Millville. Really humid weather for the end of the week. So the humidity builds and it just turns muggy as those clouds roll in for Friday in advance of a little bit of rain. I think most of the wet weather comes later Friday night. You see it working in from the west, moving in across northern New Jersey after dark, but it's very light and spotty. The bulk of the rain should come in throughout the day on Saturday. Not to say Saturday is a wash. There will be some times of just clouds, but there's a few pop-up showers there on Saturday, ending by Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon we clear out and Monday looks great, going into a very dry Tuesday and Wednesday. So weather improves for the second half of the weekend, but I think Saturday is looking pretty cloudy with a little bit of shower activity in there. Both days, 79 degrees with lots of sunshine for the second half of the weekend, and humidity returns for next week. If you think this week is hot, I have a feeling next weekend will be coming close to some records because it gets really warm here in New Jersey. So remember what I said last weekend about, making sure the AC is all up to, working order. Yeah, that would be a great time to check and double check today, especially with the muggy weather coming in as soon as Friday.
Now remember that song, Muggy Weather. Oh, maybe not. Okay, I'll stop singing. See, now you can't unhear that for the morning. Thank you. All right. All right, Mike. But that's good advice. Muggy weather coming. So if you're going to put in the window AC units or have your air conditioning serviced, do it now. Don't wait until it's 90 and humid and everybody's calling. Call now and have your system checked, right? 724, let's take a look at the Parkway. We do have an issue right here. Look at that. Stopped cars. Look, thank you, Pam. This is the Garden State Parkway, mile marker 147.0, exit 145, entering the Parkway in East Orange. And you can see the bumper to bumper right there. That's what that would be. Giving you, I don't know what accent that was, but that's what you have. So that's a little slowdown on the GSP. We have a crash on the Turnpike Inner Roadway northbound, south of Interchange 13 by the Goethals Bridge in Linden. Left lane is blocked there, and we have roving repairs on Route 35 northbound from Route 36 Eatontown to Broadway in Keyport with the right lane closed. We also have delays on I-280 westbound by I-80 and Parsippany Troy Hills. All lanes are open, just kind of a slowdown through there. Take a look at the approach to the GWB. Very slow now. Very slow upper level on the right, lower level on the left. It's about a 45 minute, actually, we're being told here, delay on the upper level, and it's about a 40 minute on the lower on the left. The Lincoln right now is 30 minutes. Hey, you, stop that with the shoulder. That is illegal. I'm going to find out the exact number of points you can get and let you know. Right now, again, we have 30 minutes at the Lincoln and about 20 at the Holland. And it is now time for Politics from Trenton, explained like no one else can do it. Here's New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, June 3rd. Welcome to the Inside Edge and welcome to day one of in-person early voting in New Jersey. So far, about 258,000 vote-by-mail ballots have been recorded as received. About 195,000 of them are for Democrats and over 63,000 from Republicans. There's a few things that we should review. If you have a vote by mail ballot and haven't filled it out yet, it's too late to reliably trust the U.S. Postal Service. Don't put it in a mailbox unless you want postal workers to potentially disenfranchise you. Bring your ballot to a secure ballot drop box. And please take responsibility for your own vote. Sign up for a free Track My Ballot account with the Division of Elections. If you sent your ballot in and it hasn't been received yet, call your county election office and don't worry about what happens. The worst case scenario is you vote provisionally. And remember, a provisional ballot counts the same as any other method of voting. Early voting locations are open today from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., same hours through Saturday, and 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. And you can vote anywhere in the county in which you're registered. And remember that if you're already affiliated with a political party, you can only vote in that party's primary. If you're unaffiliated and you want to vote this week, just show up and declare your party. And remember, you can literally go online after you vote and change your registration back to whatever you want. Now, this is important. If you get to your polling location and there's an issue, they say you're not registered or you think they have your party affiliation wrong, whatever it is, don't let anyone push you around. And no matter what, if you believe that you are registered to vote, do not go home. Respectfully speak with someone called the super poll worker. That's the person in charge of the polling location. If it's necessary, ask the poll worker to call the county election office. And you have the right to appear before a superior court judge on the same day to advocate against your own disenfranchisement. You don't have to go down to the county office. You don't have to go to the courthouse. You can appear remotely if you want. And if you change your registration at a motor vehicles office, remember that they make mistakes. This is the most fallible part of state government. And at the end of the day, you must advocate for yourself. And it's really very easy. Judges and election officials, they want to let you vote. But if you walk away and you go home without seeing it through, then that's on you. That's everything that I have for today. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow.
All right, and at 7:29, residents will gather later this week to honor a Hudson County Sheriff's officer who died in a tragic fall from a building. 29-year-old Officer Justin Rivera died Friday after falling through a 9th-floor window at the administrative building in Jersey City. A candle lighting ceremony and balloon release will take place tomorrow night at 8 in Bayonne Park. Rivera is a former Bayonne police officer, and if you'd like to take part, you're asked to bring a red, black, or blue balloon. Those were Rivera's favorite colors. Court documents show the Boulder, Colorado domestic terrorism suspect spent a year preparing to hurl Molotov cocktails into a peaceful pro-Israel march. Mohammed Sabri Soliman, an Egyptian national whose visa, which was granted during the Biden administration, expired some time ago, told federal authorities that the violence was a long time in the making. Apparently, these pro-Israel rallies would take place every week for the last year. And he had looked at that and said, I'm going to attack them. So he dressed up like a gardener. And that's how he was able to infiltrate. And then he ripped off his shirt, as you see, while he was doing his gardening work, and then threw the Molotov cocktails at these individuals. In an interview with the feds, the suspect said that he had been waiting for his daughter's graduation before he would carry out the attack because he knew he'd be arrested after that. Imagine the insanity. Investigators say on Sunday, Soleimani crashed that pro-Israel gathering by throwing flaming Molotov cocktails at 12 of the Jews who were gathered there while shouting "Free Palestine." He was arrested right after. The dozen received burns over much of their bodies, some very seriously hurt, and they're hospitalized. One is in critical condition. The good news is nobody was killed, but that person in critical condition's in bad shape. We understand burns are over like 50% of the body. Yet another nation has elected a populist president in the vein of Donald Trump. In Poland, Trump-backed nationalist Karol Nawrocki clinched the presidency in that nation yesterday in a tight runoff race that spells trouble for the country's current pro-EU government. A final count showed Nawrocki secured nearly 51% of the votes against the 49% of rival Warsaw Mayor liberal Rafał Trzaskowski. All the leftist media leading up to the election naturally had the liberal, even there they have leftist media. They always, every one of their leftist polls showed the liberal leading. Sounds familiar? Remember Trump and Hillary Clinton? Trump was 12 points down on election night and he won by like 3 points. Nawrocki will succeed fellow conservative ONNJ Duda, who himself won the leadership with a razor-thin advantage against Trzaskowski in 2020. The election's important because it raises questions over Warsaw's future alignment with Brussels and Kyiv. Notice how the left loves to suggest people on the right pose a violent threat, yet no one on the right has committed any violent act or an act of vandalism. Oh, they'll bring up January 6th. But remember, if you look at January 6th, there were no guns. Nobody from the right did any shooting. Nobody was, they say, oh, they assaulted police officers. If you look at the video, the assault is the cops shoved them and they went, hey. And that was the assault of the police officers that ended up people being in basement jails for 3 years. See, those on the left, they practice what we call projection in psychology. They're the rioters who burned down cities like during the BLM riots. By the way, most of those violent rioters were not African-American people who had a right to riot, by the way, very much so. It was the white rioters. Many of them were extremists, and many of them were female, by the way. Take a look at this. Vandals cut the flowers off of 200 peony plants in the Arboretum at the University of Michigan for Palestine. See, it's peak peony season. Peonies, some of the most beautiful flowers that exist. The note from these protesters tells people to replace their American flags with Palestinian ones. Yeah. Violence, this seems to be all that side knows. Like petulant, spoiled little children acting up and having tantrums. Time to speed up the arrests and, if it applies, deportations. And Italy's Mount Etna. I don't know if we have this video, Pam, because I think we don't. But if we did have it, we do. Thank you, Pam. Did I just knock us off, Pam? And good morning. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 7:34. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta on this Tuesday morning with a summer-like Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, Ken. We've got a beautiful summer feel with low humidity today, Ken. It'll feel comfortable throughout this afternoon, but as the week progresses, that humidity will build as the heat takes over across New Jersey, too. I should change that. It looks like it says sunniest yet. That's an exclamation point, but it's the sunniest day yet, meaning the UV is at its highest. I think going into this afternoon, there will be much warmer weather, even for tomorrow, as that humidity increases day by day. And then we get into Friday with a little bit of cloud cover, very muggy weather, and some rain takes over by the end of the day. Our forecast for today is completely rain-free. We are dry and beautiful. Temperatures in the upper 70s at the coast. Inland, away from the shoreline, you'll see highs climb into the low and mid-80s, even 84 by Camden, 82 in Glassboro, and just a very summery feel across New Jersey. So again, here's a look at the wildfire smoke. You can't really see it here because we're zoomed in so close. It really is like a global scale of how large these fires are. I have to pan back all this way to see the origin of the wildfires up in Canada and the plumes of smoke that are being driven by the winds in the upper atmosphere down across the Midwest, down across the South, and then swirling back up here into New Jersey off the coast, all due to that high pressure that's swirling to our south and west, creating poorer air quality at the coast today, because that's where the air will be flowing in from off of the water as the air is kind of dragged down from the upper atmosphere closer to the ground, lowering air quality first at the shoreline. So places like LBI and Atlantic City have air quality up in the upper 80s and 90s. Anytime that air quality is above 100 is a cause for concern. So it's going to be one of those days that brings back the threat of poor air quality and issues for those with asthma and respiratory issues, especially by the end of the day. There should be a little bit of a break with the weather pattern moving a little further east, allowing for some clouds to return by Thursday and Friday. But today and tomorrow, I would say to keep an eye to that AQI. Throughout Friday and Saturday, that's where the rain chances increase, especially Friday night and specifically throughout the day on Saturday. But I think we get some better air in here by the time we get to the weekend, helping to also clear air quality and look a little bit better. So here's the high pressure that'll sit offshore, ultimately drag in some of that southwesterly wind with humidity and with heat, and allow for us to bring back the threat of some thunderstorms by the end of the day on Friday. It takes a while for those storms to get going because it's all associated with this front that doesn't arrive until later Friday evening anyway, but the clouds increase before then, and as that front moves over the city and really New Jersey, it brings back plenty of threats for rain by late Friday into early Saturday. And that's what you see here with temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s. Saturday is a little bit cooler, but it's muggy and it's cloudy, and there'll be some on and off showers throughout the day. Sunday ultimately clears out with a high of 79, and then Monday looks great with drier weather and a high of 77. Cooler at the beaches by a little bit, but still fantastic for June, especially 79 and sunny throughout Thursday and Friday. I think Friday sees some high clouds by the end of the day, but ultimately you too down the shore can see that rain come in for Saturday with clearing by Sunday and Monday. So it looks like that rain only isolated to later Friday night and Saturday, just that short window. And then we kick it out and salvage the second half of the weekend, Ken, with more sunshine by Sunday.
By the way, we don't like to call it a short window. We like to call it a height impaired window. Just saying.
Height impaired.
We try
A
to stay
vertically
politically
challenged
correct.
window, right?
I mean, I'm tired of having to tell you about the political correctness on the show, Mike. I'm just saying. All right, bud. Thank you very much with our height impaired windows. It's 7:38, and the weather, as Mike was just saying, heating up here in New Jersey, and unfortunately, so are the electric bills. In fact, just this week, many residents saw rate hikes of up to 20% taking effect. That's after many hikes through the winter. So naturally, a lot of folks are asking, where can I cut costs? How can I save on the basics? Well, one area you might not have considered is your cell phone and internet service. Joining us this morning is Verizon tech expert Alex Lee, here to talk about a program that could offer a little more stability and maybe even some relief for your monthly bills. Alex, good morning. Good to have you on.
Ken, great to see you. Missed your dad jokes, I'll tell you that.
And I miss you. You know, Alex, when I heard it was Alex Lee, I Googled Alex Lee and Verizon, and I saw an Asian man. I'm not kidding. And I thought, oh, it's not the Alex Lee
Surprise.
that I know. I'm literally now just finding out it's this Alex Lee. For the record, for those who don't realize, Alex and I worked together at Channel 7. So years and years
We
ago.
sure did.
Alex.
Yes,
Big
lifetimes
hug and a kiss
ago.
through the big hug and a kiss.
Hugging
And
you
by
through the
way,
internet. It's so great to see you, my friend. Yeah.
literally. So, sorry. Well, like we could just spend the whole segment just talking about
I
this.
know,
But
we're just
we have to
yapping
try
away over here. We're just kvetching. We're kikiing. It's been a minute. But yeah, let's talk about saving money. You know as well as I do. New Jersey, the Garden State, the great Garden State. We know it. We love it. I love living here. I'll never leave. Even though they keep raising all of our prices. It's like, it's getting insane. I was just talking to a friend of mine who lives in Central Jersey. And she was like, listen, man, my electric bill is already breaking 300 with these rises, with these hikes. We're going to be talking $400-ish a month. That is insane. So Verizon, we're stepping in to help. We're putting on our capes, our superhero capes. We have something, it's an industry first guarantee. It's called, we're calling it our best value guarantee. And that is us doing exactly that, guaranteeing you that you're going to get the best value, the best bang for your buck, if you will, in a time where everything is uncertain. Tax, cost of living, everything. You can't step outside the house these days without spending $100. So we're here to help you.
Is that doggy?
It sure is my dog, who decides to start squeaking his toy the second we go live. Can't make it up, right?
I love it. This is clearly a very informal morning show, so it's okay to do that. That's good. And feel free to bring the doggy on. By the way, and for the record, this is being streamed on Fios, just so you know. So we're big
Love
fans
it. The gold
of
standard
Verizon.
of home internet.
It is the best. In fact, for many of you who don't realize, you basically can't really do a high. This is a 4K podcast. You can't do it without Fios. It doesn't. It's impossible.
Exactly.
So, because of the uplink speed, and we do love our Fios. By
Thank
the way.
you, Ken.
And
we love you right back.
Thank you. I know. Look, Verizon is the gold standard. Anyone who has a cell phone knows that it is the gold standard. But the idea that you can get things like the best value guarantee with the product is so amazing. So, what else does the best value guarantee entail?
How much time you got? Buckle in, because we're giving you so much. We're saving you money. We're giving you peace of mind. We're locking you in. So let's break that down. Best value guarantee. What is it? It is a guarantee. It's not a promo. It's not something we're doing. It's like, oh, stick around because it's only here for a short time. And what it's doing is it's guaranteeing you that when you go into the Verizon store, you get your cell phone plan set up, you get your home internet plan set up. That price that you're given that day, right there, right then, you're locked in for 3 years. Set it and forget it, if you will, as I like to say. You don't have to worry about anything going up. No cost of your home or internet plan going up. For 3 years, we're giving you peace of mind. And also, this isn't just for existing Verizon customers. If you are watching this right now at home, if you're streaming, and you decide, hey, this sounds great, you want to go into a Verizon store, you want to change, you want to switch, new customers, we welcome you. You're going to get the same exact deal. And if you are already a Verizon customer, you don't have to do anything. You're going to be automatically enrolled at the price you're at. However, I'm talking about home and mobile. There's never been a better time to be a Verizon customer, and also to bundle those two, because you can save more money. If you decide to become a customer for mobile and home, if you're one or the other already, bundle, do it. You're going to save $15 a month on your bill. Let me do the math for you real quick. Annually in savings, that's $180. That's going to go right back in your pocket. And so again, this is a theme. Everything's expensive. You want to save money and cut costs where you can. Verizon's helping you do just that.
And the amazing thing, I always think back, Alex, to 20 years ago when there was the big blackout. And I remember that people who had other carriers, the other carriers, it had spotty service, and Verizon saved. In fact, many of the TV stations in New York, if you didn't have Verizon phones, you couldn't get a signal.
Sorry.
So that's But it's always been, because look, if anyone who doesn't realize, Verizon is historic in this region. Verizon is the grandchild, if you will, of what was New York and New Jersey Bell, and then it became it became like whatever the next incarnation was, and it evolved into Verizon. So this has been around for over 100 years. It's a long time company, and it's been servicing our area. If somebody is thinking about getting a cell phone for the first time, or you want to get a cell phone for your child, what kind of deals would be say available from Verizon, and what should parents look to do to make sure that the cell phone is safe for the child?
Well, first of all, we have an amazing app for just that. It's a Verizon Family app, and you can just Verizon.com/family. Amazing. It kind of gives them that peace of mind to know, like, the kid gets their independence. Like, look at me, I have my cell phone. I'm an adult, but the parent, you at home with the kid with the cell phone, you don't have to worry, because you can kind of monitor that on the side. And speaking of phones, with our best value guarantee right now, you're going to get a free phone. So I have a very embarrassingly cracked iPhone that I need to take advantage of this deal for. You can come to a Verizon store, any phone you have, any device, if it's a Pixel, and literally any cell phone you have, no matter what shape it's in. It could be in pieces, in shambles. It could be brand new. You give that to us. we're going to give you a free phone. That's it. No strings attached. Period. End of sentence. Full stop. Trade in any device, get a free phone on us. Part of our best value guarantee, because it's not just about saving money. Everybody wants a little something, something, right? You want to feel special. You want free. If it's free, it's for me. That's what I always say. Speaking of free, you're also going to get free satellite text messaging. Very important. You can be connected anywhere you are in the world to whoever. Everybody's on the go. It's the summer's upon us. Everybody's going to be traveling. That's huge. And then also streaming. We're doing it right now. Everybody loves to stream. You love to stream your entertainment. We're going to give you 5 perks. You know, the big ones: Netflix, Max, Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus for $20 a month. That's it. All of those. Ken, you and I both know if you're going to go and subscribe to each one of those individually, it's going to be a whole lot more than $20 a month.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah, that's a great deal. And Verizon, I mean, this is the time to take advantage of something like this, especially coming into the summer season. You know, the kids are going to be busy. You want to stay in touch with them over the summer while they're out with their friends, or if you're going on vacation. And like we're heading out of the country on Friday, and I already made sure that I could use my Verizon plan in Europe. And I was shocked that I didn't even have to do any special activation, that I could just roam in Europe. It's just a whole different
times have changed, right?
Yeah, you used to have to buy.
You just arrive.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember it well, and I'd come home and be like, like hold my breath when I open that phone bill. But no, it's so easy now. We're connecting you no matter where we're just really, everybody's out there living and playing their best life. We're just helping empower you to do just that. And you know, we all like to feel a little special. So also included, I'm just like, but wait, there's more. With our best value guarantee, you get VIP customer service access. This means when you need help, priority support, you don't wait in lines. You're not like, this call time is estimated at 45-minute wait. No, you're cutting the line. If you have an issue, we're going to help you right away because you're important to us. And we want to make sure you have the best connectivity and you get everything that you need when you need it.
Awesome. And I will say, as to your customer service, when we first put the FiOS in, I'm just being a geek about FiOS. When we put it in, we had a burp on one of the days because apparently it's prerequisite set for people who are into high-speed gaming. And unfortunately, a lot of the computer systems haven't caught up with that yet. If you're a gamer, you have, but otherwise geeks like me who are below the gaming level haven't caught up with that. I made one phone call. They immediately knew what it was. I said, let me escalate you. I know who can fix that. And I thought they were full of baloney. The guy said immediately what the problem was. We had one adjustment, done. Haven't had a problem since. So we're streaming, like I said, on FiOS at like a gig up and a gig down, and it's just amazing. So it's a great product. I can't sing the praises enough. I really can't. It's that good. And no issue.
You heard the man. What he said. Retweet. Like yes, you're singing the praise, and that's we love you and we thank you. And listen, this is what it's all about, right? I mean, we have the best retail reps, customer service reps, team. We call ourselves V-teamers. The V team, they care about you. I am one of them. I am also a New Jersey resident who needs home internet, who needs Wi-Fi, who needs to talk to my family that doesn't live in the area. And so, you know, I am you. I see you. I hear you. I know what you need. I know what you want, and we're offering it to you. And in a time, in a time where you don't know how much eggs are going to cost tomorrow, and how much your taxes are going to be hiked. New Jersey, I just read, you know, the highest taxes in the country. So
crazy. And we don't get the most services for it either. But it's nice to know that Verizon is there to give us a break. Alex, you come back anytime. Anytime.
Oh, I would love to.
Tell our executive producer, Gerald, give her the golden key. Alex can come on.
Hello, Gerald.
Moment's notice. That's it.
I'm going to be a frequent flyer.
Please do. You are the best. And literally, for those, this is sincere. I wish I'd give you a hug right now through the screen. I miss you so much, and it was so nice over the years working together. And you were awesome. You made my day. I'm so glad we had you on.
Right back at you. Te amo, my friends. Enjoy Europe.
All right, te amo too. All right, you. Alex Lee from Verizon. Thank you for joining us. Get your Verizon phone today. All right, thank you. It is 7:49, and we have a kind of a little sticky 53 degrees, sunny, hazy. Warmer today, highs in the low to mid 80s. It'll get warmer over the next few days. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a full Garden State forecast. And we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. What a nice surprise that was. I mean, literally, I don't know if you see the glow on my face. He's one of my favorite people in the business. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Well, hello there. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 751, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Sunny, hazy, warmer today, highs in the low to mid 80s. Getting warmer over the next few days, too. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta. He has the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike. You know that Alex filled in doing weather and used to fill in doing traffic at Channel 7 well beyond after you had gone. But I thought it was a different Alex Lee who was coming on. I didn't realize it was our old friend from Channel 7. That was such a pleasant surprise.
It was a nice surprise. It was your genuine reaction too that kind of made the morning. I was talking to Gerald, our executive producer, about Alex a few weeks ago, and I thought, oh, Ken doesn't know. This is going to be nice. So yeah, nice surprise.
Oh, you
nice
guys
surprise.
knew this? You knew it?
I mean,
You
it was a
knew
little
it.
setup. I'm thinking we ran out of time. We were up against the clock this morning. I'm like, I'll let Ken be surprised before the show.
Oh, thank you. That made my heart is warm. She is such a great
Yeah.
lady, but that was so cool. I'm sorry to take away your time here. Go. I'm sorry.
No,
My
you
apologies,
kidding
sir.
me? The weather warms your heart today as well. You walk
Yes.
outside, you're soaking up the sun, get all that vitamin D recharge, especially with the clear sky that takes over into the next few days. Now, today, I think is our last comfortably warm day because the humidity really builds by tomorrow. So 83 in Hackensack with that California feel, thanks to the low humidity, even in Jersey City, 81. They're on the waterfront. 79 in Newton and 81 in Sussex. It'll look great for the afternoon today. We stay rain-free through the next several days, so doesn't matter because we're not in a drought anymore here in New Jersey. We'll take the dry weather. We saw buckets of rain last week with more than double the amount of rain we typically see in a 30-day period, so we have no rainfall deficit. Nice change for the better. Our forecast beyond the 7-day, this is going into the middle of June, keeps us above average. There will be some very warm weather that prolongs this heat going into the next few weeks, and even though there's a slightly higher than average chance of some wet weather, notice it's not all that impressive on the scale, like one tick closer to above average. So I think we're looking good even in the 7-day period and beyond. With that 7-day forecast showing a big warm up into the low 90s on Thursday, the humidity really makes it feel muggy for Friday as the rain takes over later Friday night, but we'll even see that muggy weather before then as clouds prevent us from reaching the upper 80s in most spots and low 90s. But it's the Saturday showers that I think keeps everybody's attention tuned to the weekend, because while Saturday is gray at times with a few showers, Sunday looks a lot better. So make those outdoor plans. I think by Sunday you'll be safe. Throughout the week down the shore, plenty of clear sky with lots of sun throughout Thursday as well. A little bit cooler each afternoon with an afternoon sea breeze developing at the coast. Saturday has the chance for some rain with the clouds, and then again Sunday clears out with a little bit more wet weather on the way for Monday. So overall, Ken, we're looking good through the middle of next week at least.
Now that you said sea breeze, I want a cocktail. I
Yeah.
go for a sea breeze. I haven't had a sea breeze in like 7 years. Of course, I don't drink alcohol, so there you go. But we'll figure it out. Maybe get a mocktail of a sea breeze. I'll work on
They're
that.
becoming very popular now, the mocktails. You see them everywhere.
You know, I've been doing mocktails for about 3 years, so I'm a trendsetter, obviously. My husband always has like a drink if we go out to dinner on a Saturday night. I'm the designated driver because I don't drink, and now he's been enjoying mocktails. He can't believe how good they are, and you don't get any of the negative after effects. So it is a big thing. But now that the restaurants have taken note, they're charging $20 for what is
They are for
really a
fruit
black
juice, essentially.
juice and seltzer. Are you kidding me? But it's all fancy in the glass. So there you go,
Right, I
20
know.
bucks. And they're not stupid. All right, Mike, thank you, sir. It is 53 degrees already. Temp has come up the last few hours, a couple of degrees already, 7:55. And in terms of traffic, we have a crash now with injuries on the GWB. This is on the lower level, eastbound from New Jersey side into in Fort Lee. 2 right lanes are blocked. So let's take a look at the GWB traffic right now. So that you see the lower level on the left, that's what we're talking about. So it's really heavy. If you're going to take the GWB into Manhattan, take the upper level you see on the right side of your screen. Otherwise, you might want to go for the Lincoln or the Holland. They're not that bad right now. Holland's about 25 minutes. Lincoln's about 30. It's better than this. Certainly better than the lower level of the GWB. In terms of other traffic, we have roving repairs, Route 35 northbound from Route 36 in Eatontown to Broadway in Keyport with the right lane closed. And we have some delays on the New Jersey Turnpike local and express roadways northbound approaching the GWB in Fort Lee due to volume. So there's volume as it is going into what you just saw, and then there's the incident on the bridge on the lower level. 7:56, 2 Elizabeth men, Dalvin Javier Sanchez and Javier Criado, were arrested in a Somerset County firearms probe. A May 7th raid on 2 homes apparently uncovered the incident. This involves 12 pounds of marijuana and cash. Both face multiple charges, including illegal firearms possession and drug distribution. They're being held in Somerset County Jail, and that is the case with these 2 gentlemen. Hoboken police, by the way, have arrested 24 people after a 2-month investigation there into illegal drug activity near the 300 block of Jackson Street. After a number of complaints from residents, the HPD Street Crimes Unit seized 36 grams of crack cocaine, 106 grams of heroin, and nearly $700 in cash. 9 face serious drug distribution charges, carrying up to 10 years behind bars. Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala faces allegations of fixing some 250 parking tickets since 2005, all dismissed according to a whistleblower's letter to prosecutors. The claims raised just before the June 10th Assembly primary allege improper dismissals by Hoboken's municipal court. Bala's team calling it a smear campaign timed to his competitive race for the 32nd district. Bala denies any wrongdoing as the crowded Democratic primary heats up. And Jennifer Nelson, wife of Manalapan Mayor Eric Nelson, was charged with third-degree theft on Friday. Freehold Township Police say the 52-year-old allegedly stole some $5,200 in cash and jewelry from a home where she worked as a housekeeper for 8 years. Police say some items were found at a pawn shop. Mayor Nelson, who's running for re-election, has not commented. New Jersey lawmakers advanced a bill to make the state's vaccine registry opt out by default, passing the Senate Health Committee on a 5-3 vote. The measure allows health officials to mandate registry inclusion during public health emergencies, despite opt-out requests, though. So if, God forbid, there's another COVID emergency, you do not get to opt out in that case. Senator Joe Vitale insists that privacy and exemptions remain protected, but critics like Senator Holly Schapese warn that it could undermine personal choice. 7:58, New Jersey state senators clashed yesterday over a resolution that urges the Board of Public Utilities to probe PJM Interconnections capacity market auction after a nearly tenfold increase in electricity hitting consumers. The measure passed 25-12 along party lines, blaming PJM's slow approval of renewable projects for supply shortages. Republicans countered that Governor Murphy's renewable energy push installed offshore wind projects and are driving costs, with demand surging from AI data centers and electrification. The resolution awaits Assembly approval, while a separate bill to study data centers' impact heads to Murphy's desk. More left-wing rioters committing chaos throughout the world. In Paris, rioters set fires following Paris's Paris Saint-Germain Champions League victory. That's their big soccer tournament, soccer league. Footage shows a heavily congested highway packed with motorcycles and cars as flames erupted along the roadside in the French capital. PSG clinched their first ever UEFA Championship League title with a 5-0 win over Inter Milan this past Saturday. This was the largest margin of victory, by the way, in the tournament's 70-year history. Officials confirmed 2 deaths during the victory celebrations on Saturday night. A 17-year-old boy was stabbed in the chest in the southwestern town of Dax in France. And in central Paris, a 23-year-old motorist on a scooter was also killed after being struck by a vehicle. Some 559 individuals were arrested, and you just watch how some women, well, we don't have the video, unfortunately. There were 2 young women, fortunate to be alive right now. Their car that they were in was literally ripped apart by mobs. Great news for the Trump economy. The Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank predicts an astounding 4.6% annual growth in the second quarter of 2025 for the U.S. gross domestic product, or GDP. This would be the strongest quarterly expansion since 2021. Now, wasn't it just over a month ago that Wall Street leftists said Trump destroyed the economy by threatening and imposing tariffs? Maybe all the so-called money experts should take a lesson from the billionaire in the White House. Just saying. And inflation numbers are the best in 4 years under the Trump administration. It's 2.31%, down from 3.36% a year ago under President Biden. Have you checked the price of eggs lately, by the way? They're down 62% since President Trump on Inauguration Day, since he took office. They were $6.55 when he took office. They're now $2.52 a dozen. The media ignored the story, by the way, once it got good for Trump. You simply do not hear a word about egg prices anymore, and Trump accomplished this in just a few months. And we've been telling you that 64 Tesla superchargers will be removed from the New Jersey Turnpike as the Highway Authority ends Tesla's contract, opting instead for Apple Green to install 240 universal EV chargers across all 21 service areas. Elon Musk called the move corruption on X, but Tesla says it is prepared. They're going to put up 116 off-turnpike stalls for consumers. The company offered to add adapters to the Tesla superchargers that are on the turnpike right now, so just about anyone with any electric car could use those chargers. But the state declined. Could it have something to do with the fact that all the state leaders are liberals and Elon Musk has been siding with Trump lately? Just saying. Unbelievable. Originally, 2 years ago, they were going to just add these Apple Green sites to the existing Tesla sites, but only in the last 2 months did the state say, no, you got to yank your Tesla superchargers out, you conservative meanie. And by the way, as your teen hits the road this summer for getaways and Jersey Shore beach days, you can breathe easier. Consumer Affairs ranks New Jersey's teen drivers as the best in the nation, with 0 fatalities involving teens under the influence and just 3.73 fatalities per 100,000 teens. Finally, you used to smoke pot, but you switched to gummies because you thought they were better for your health. Well, think again. A new study shows long-term cannabis use in any form, whether it be chewables or smokables or touchables or whatever, are bad and they cause heart disease. In the study, researchers at UC San Francisco determined eating edible cannabis, such as gummies, has the same impact on cardiovascular risk as smoking marijuana because apparently it causes reduced blood vessel function. This was published in JAMA Cardiology, the Journal of the American Medical Association, May 28th. So all of you who think it's okay to chew gummies, it's fine, pot has no risk, there is a significant increased risk in stroke, heart attack, cardiovascular disease, so don't do it. It is 53 degrees now at 8:03. When we come back, it's summer travel season. We'll speak with travel expert Eric, the travel guy Hastings, about a little-known treasure of a getaway that won't necessarily break the bank. And we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. We'll be right back. Good morning. It's Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. Welcome back to ONNJ Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Sunny, hazy, warmer, highs in the low to mid 80s and getting warmer in the next few days. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Ken, good morning. We've warmed up very nicely just in the last hour with the sun shining down across New Jersey from earlier this morning. Remember, sunrise is now before 5 a.m. Before 6 a.m. It's 5:20 or so. We will enjoy that clear sky through this afternoon. See, the almanac page went out before, so I've got to do it from memory. Overall, it's going to feel warmer than yesterday with a touch more humidity building in. We don't have that humidity around right now, but by this afternoon, a little bit of a breeze comes in off of the water and allows for more of that cooler feel along the coastline, but temperatures easily warm into the 80s inland. Not so much of a breeze today, especially off of the water, but by tomorrow that wind pushes in from the south and southwest, and that really pushes our temperatures into the upper 80s and low 90s. Once we get there, I think with all the sunshine, it'll feel fantastic, but we still have to keep an eye to the wildfire smoke. Due to those Canadian wildfires, that's where the wildfires originate, and the smoke trails all the way down through the Midwest and the deep south and then wraps around and comes back into New Jersey off of the coast. It's all due to the swirling weather pattern that's preventing that smoke from dissipating and just puts it right back in New Jersey from a different direction. It kind of does a U-turn. It's like it's taking a New Jersey jug handle, if you will. That's what the smoke is doing. It can't turn left, so it's going around and making three rights, following the New Jersey traffic law. So clearly, it knows what it's doing. Our forecast going into the afternoon tomorrow, I think Pam likes that. Going into the afternoon tomorrow, we'll notice a little bit more of a milder feel with highs that climb into the low 90s, warmer still through the end of the day, mild in the morning, and then by the afternoon, look at that, 90 in Newark by 3 o'clock, 89 in Hackensack, and 90 in Camden. And then with that southwesterly breeze continuing to pump in all the heat and humidity, we start the day at 72. That's our typical afternoon high this time of year. So the temperature only goes up from there into the mid-90s, high heat, high humidity, all the way down the turnpike, away from the coast. It's going to feel like the middle of July for about 2 days, starting on Thursday, lasting into Friday. Now, Friday sees some extra clouds, which prevents us, I think, from reaching the 90s. It's just going to be stifling with that humidity as highs reach the upper 80s, a little bit cooler at the coast there toward LBI, down by Seaside and Toms River. And then I think the rain settles in throughout the evening on Friday. A couple spotty showers develop and ultimately pull through, leading to a wet start to the weekend on Saturday. But the weekend is not a complete wash. It does turn drier by Sunday, and next week is looking quite nice. We'll give you those details coming up with the complete weekend forecast, Ken, in just a few minutes.
3 words I love to hear: complete weekend forecast. Among my favorite things ever to hear in the world. I appreciate
Not
you,
no
Mike.
turn on
Thank you,
red.
sir. Yeah. And the damn smoke with the jug handle in New Jersey. Even, this is the way we overregulate everything in the state of New Jersey. Even the smoke has to follow like the route. I love it.
My wife,
Make a right to
born
make
and
a left.
raised in Long Island, coming to New Jersey when we were dating, she's like, "Why can't you make a left in this state?" I'm like, "Well, it's what you got to do." She got hey, the hood, cops are cool to turn around to go to where you want to go. So yeah.
I could see if it like reduced accidents. It doesn't really do that. So, whatever.
No.
Whatever.
Just imagine
Whatever.
Marissa Tomei from My Cousin Vinny behind the wheel in New Jersey, and that's basically what you get.
Oh my God, I love it. Well, at least she's beautiful. All right, Mike, we'll check back with you.
Yes,
I love it. It is 8:08 right now and 53 degrees. Checking traffic right now, which is not so beautiful if you're on the GWB. Take a look at the approach right now, 8095 approach into Manhattan. You can see the accident that we reported on the lower level on the left has been cleared up in a matter of 15 minutes. They said, not on my watch. They pulled that accident off fast. So you can see now the lower level and upper level are both moving pretty well. Actually, this is very well. This is down to about a 30-minute cross time. Normally at this time of the morning, it's about 45, 50 minutes. So that's pretty good. Right now, we have about 25 minutes at the Lincoln and 20 minutes at the Holland. So getting into Manhattan today, not so bad, a lot. And we have just roving repairs on Route 35 northbound from Route 36 in Eatontown to Broadway and Keyport with the right lane blocked. 8:08 is our time. Are you thinking about escaping on a summer break getaway? Travel expert Eric, the travel guy Hastings. By the way, that's a strange middle name for a parent to put on a.
It's Dutch Romanian.
Oh, Dutch. Of course. What was I thinking? Eric Hastings of ericthetravelguy.com, Eric with a K, by the way, joins us with a little-known treasure of a getaway that won't necessarily break the bank. Good morning, Eric. Tell us about Simon's Island, Georgia.
Well, frankly, Ken, I'm a little upset about the situation because I love St. Simon's Island. I have been many times over the years. If you don't know where it is, of course, it's on the coast. It's just off 95. It's actually the sort of the beach community counterpart to Brunswick, Georgia, which is about halfway between Jacksonville and Savannah, right? So I love going down there. I think one of the reasons I like visiting is because it's I don't want to say less developed, but it's a little smaller and a little more community-y than, say, Hilton Head, which I also love. So the reason I'm upset about it is because I think the secret is out. So I don't know, maybe I'm doing my job too well. I don't know. Maybe I've been blabbing too much. I have a couple of martinis in me and I start talking about how wonderful St. Simon's Island is. And lo and behold, people, they start going there. And now I have to vacation with, 700,000 of my closest friends. So, of
I
course,
could remember, by the way, so I didn't mean to step on you, Eric, 20 years ago, sitting
yeah,
in my home in Hollywood, Florida, because I lived back and forth, as I still do, between South Florida and New Jersey. And I was sitting at my kitchen table with my friend John, and he said to me that he and his other half were buying on this. It's called Saint, and he's from Queens, very thick accent. I says, we're buying a place in St. Simon's Island. I said, where the hell is that? He says, right, just up over the border of Florida. It's like near Florida. And he showed me pictures, and I couldn't believe how pristine. So 20 years ago, it was
right.
pristine. So I don't know if that's
And,
all
and
going to
it,
change now that people know about it.
I'll tell you one of the things that it's got going for it it's sort of underrated, which is they have beautiful beaches. Like I hang out down in Pier Village. Of course, that's the charming little downtown, in the East Village, and it's charming. What it doesn't have is a big thing. It doesn't have a giant Ferris wheel. It doesn't have the big tourist attraction thing that everybody flocks to see and then goes to the Cheesecake Factory afterwards. What it has is it has authenticity. It has charm, which, as you know, is not unique to small town America or small town Europe or whatever. But one of the things it's got going for it is that it's easy to get to. It's got year-round temperate climate. It's got really cool, delicious restaurants. I can tell you. Well, when I stay with a couple friends of mine, but I also stay at the King and Prince Resort, which is right on the beach, which I like down there. So if you need a place to stay, I would stay there. You've got Airbnbs, of course, you have that option as well. But it's the restaurants. I love the food. I love the locally owned restaurants, and you go and they're down there killing it. The mom and pop places doing delicious seafood. I always go to Palmer's for breakfast. I go to Fiddler's. So again, it's a destination that has it all when it doesn't have the big Ferris wheel downtown, which in my opinion, sometimes you don't want the Ferris wheel. Sometimes you just want to
Right.
relax and put your flip-flops on and go hang out at the beach.
Like if you get a long weekend and you want to go down for 3 days and just have sand in your toes, and you don't want to have the traffic of the Jersey Shore, what airport would you fly into, by the way, for that? Jacksonville?
You go to Brunswick. Well, you go to Brunswick. Brunswick has a regional airport, and they've got nonstops to Atlanta. So you go on Delta and do that. But again, this is one of those. This is part of that. We're talking about like the dollar being worth a little less here, and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But this is one of these places where it's not incredibly expensive to vacation in. And so you can rent a car. And I say, you know what, if you're going to do it, why don't you go to Savannah for a couple of days? Instead of
Right.
doing an extended
Beautiful.
weekend, do 5 nights and do a couple nights in Savannah. Rent a car, drive a
Savannah's
little
awesome.
south on 95, hop off the interstate and go to another charming place, which is St. Simon's Island for a couple of nights.
Yeah, I would do the whole tour. I mean, look, Myrtle Beach, a lot of people say Myrtle Beach is so pedestrian. Myrtle Beach is fun. I don't know. Maybe because I went there as a kid. Myrtle Beach for a few days is
Yeah.
actually fun, and it's so cheap. It's so inexpensive in Myrtle
Well,
Beach.
and Ken, I love it when people get critical of destinations of any type. When they say, "Oh, Myrtle Beach, great example. I would never go to Myrtle Beach because it's so touristy." We didn't ask you to move there. It's not like you're going to be there for 8 weeks doing. You're not pouring concrete on a new highway system. You're just being there for a couple of days to go. What does it look like? What's it smell like?
Exactly.
What's it feel like? And then you're going to leave.
You could rent a condo. You could do an Airbnb condo dead on the ocean with nothing, unobstructed views of the ocean in Myrtle Beach, giant pools, and by the way, extremely kid friendly. And you could go down, you could fly right into Myrtle Beach. There are charter flights that go right into Myrtle Beach direct. You can even find them direct. And it's
Yeah.
ridiculously cheap. I mean, I remember years ago, Myrtle Beach Jet Express doesn't exist anymore. It was a charter company, and it used to be
Yes.
$79 from even
Yeah.
from like Islip MacArthur on Long Island. $79, 2 hours. You were in Myrtle Beach. and the hotels were like $70, $60, $70 a night. You could have a great weekend. You spend a few $100, you're on the sand, you fly home with a bunch of hurricane cocktails in you, and it was great. It's fun. There's a
Well,
way to do it. But
again,
because I want to hit, only because we're almost out of time here, Eric, the fact that the dollar is weaker overseas makes sense to do your vacationing in the United States, right?
that's exactly right. So you say, well, let's try to remember once again what vacation is all about. Sure, it's about seeing other things and experiencing other things, but it's also about vacationing with the people you're vacationing with and spending time with your family or your friends, or maybe getting a solo trip in and having a little quiet time to yourself where you put the phone down. And let me tell you something, you don't have to go to Europe to do that. You can stay right here in this country. And if you just do a little bit of homework, you will find out that this country alone has literally thousands of places that would match your criteria and exceed your expectations. That's exactly right. And
All right.
save Europe for next year.
Absolutely. And things will change because the economy is picking up here. And as the economy picks up here, that means the dollar is more powerful there. Right now, it's always like a 6 to 12 month delay. So right now, Europe is basing the dollar's value on what it was 6 to 12 months ago. So as the economy picks up here, it will eventually overpower the euro, but that's going to take 6 to 12 more months. All right. Eric,
Mm-hmm.
the travel guy Hastings, at Eric with a K, the travel guy, ericthetravelguy.com. What a pleasure. And I love your site. And I always love having you on, brother. All the best. Are we allowed to talk about your project yet down in your neck of the woods?
Well, speaking of the big thing, yes, we opened this weekend. SpeakeasyMurder.com, man. We're going to do interactive 1920s Prohibition era murder mystery. We're having an absolute blast. Like I said, we open on Sunday, so if you're coming down to Orlando this summer, yes, come and see us. We could talk travel during the intermission.
You know what? Let's take a minute before, because I have just some stories to come up. Let's take a minute and talk about what it is, because I love this. You and I have been talking about this for months off the air. Talk about what
Well,
this is, and this is right
listen.
near the new destination where you are. Talk about where it is and how to get there.
So one of the reasons I spend a lot of my time down here in Central Florida in Orlando is because I'm a big believer in going out and experiencing things, and I happen to be pretty inspired by the theme parks down here. So I look around. So for me personally, it's one of the reasons I'm here. And my friend Gary Littman and I said, maybe if we're going to be down here in Tourist Central, why don't we do a show that we love? And we love this script. This script's been on my in my IP library for a long time, and so we said let's do an immersive, interactive murder mystery. It doesn't have to be schlocky. The script has to be good. The actors are amazing. The dinner is terrific. And the show ends based on how the audience votes. So you get to help solve the crime. You get bribe money. And again, it's family friendly because we're here in Orlando. So we like to keep it that way. And it's fun. And you put your phone down. It's air conditioned. So you sit down, you have a great meal, you're entertained. There's live songs that we sing. There's 4 or 5 live songs in the show, and it's a phenomenal. So we love it. We love working on it, and I think that's one of those things that you find when you go to places on vacation. You go, oh man, we saw this really great show. So yes, it's called Speakeasy Murder 1920. Somebody is going to end up swimming with the fishes, and somebody else is going to the big house, Ken.
I love it. This is great. So, I mean, you spend the day at the D or the Universal or whatever with the
Yeah.
kids, and maybe take some adult time at night and leave the kids with a babysitter or with the eldest child to watch them, and they could play in the arcade a little bit. And mom and dad go to the dinner theater right now. And I mean, that just sounds like fun. And it's not too late at night either, right? What's the time that your show
No,
begins
no,
each night?
we set the curtain time at 7, and because we really debated about that. We talked about whether or not she start at 8. We talked about the duration of the show, and what's cool is that we've got another speakeasy within a speakeasy, so you actually enter the theater through a secret bookcase. So you got to select the book, and the wall opens up, and you come in. It's not schlocky. It's actually fun. You get to maybe it's a little kitschy, but I kind of like a little kitschy, a little. But yes, that's exactly right. You've got the older kids. If you've got a 12-year-old, they'll love it. There's so much. It's sensory overload. It's like, that's one of the things that's really important to me. As you and I have talked about many times, when you travel, it's not about staring at your phone. It's about feeling this place. And that's why we're doing this show, is that it's a chance for you to sit down and do something without your phone.
I love it. Give us the name of the website again, Eric.
SpeakeasyMurder.com. I would have brought you some B-roll today had I known what we were talking about. We'll talk about it next week. We'll talk about it all summer,
Yes.
Ken.
That we will. Let's do. We could promote it at the end of each segment, and we'll put it up there again. So it's
Very
my fault
kind
for
of you.
not putting
Thank you.
we have ericthetravelguy.com up there. Do you have a link on your website to that?
Well, if we had our act together, we probably could or would or should, but we probably will now.
Yes, please put a link to the other site from your website because we're posting your website
Get on
right this
that,
second on
Eric.
the
Thank
screen.
you.
Yeah, there we go.
We're on
Have
it.
one of your 20 assistants do that. There we go. Eric the Travel Guy, you are the best, my friend. All the best with your murder mystery. You are awesome. And I promise you, in the next couple of months, because we've had a lot of family stuff going on, but in the next couple of
You
months,
have.
I'm going to be down there. I promise. My word to you.
We'll
All
be
right.
here.
God bless
Thank you,
you,
my
buddy.
friend.
Thank you. You bet. Thanks, Eric. EricTheTravelGuy.com. So cool. And he's been talking about doing this murder mystery dinner theater, literally, because Eric and I know each other for a while, worked in radio separately, but we have that in common. And he's been talking about doing this for months and months. But Eric it's like he gets a tick in him, a bug. And once he gets an idea, he doesn't stop until it comes to fruition. And he made it happen. It's so cool. It is now 8:21, 53 degrees, sunny, hazy, warmer today, highs in the mid 80s. It'll get warmer over the next few days. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a full Garden State forecast. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. Do not go away. Eight 822, welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Sunshine, hazy sunshine though. That tells you about the atmosphere. Warmer today. Highs in the low to mid 80s. It'll get warmer over the next few days. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Mike, the haze can be because of two things, right? It could be either from humidity or it could be upper atmospheric stuff. So which is it for us?
For us, it's about the upper atmospheric stuff, or as you
Okay.
referred to it the other day, I think junk, which is very accurate. It's just these small particulates in the upper atmosphere, and it sometimes creates that milky appearance to the sky. It obscures that blue that we love this time of year, especially with the low humidity. And yet it's the wildfire smoke from Canada that is preventing us from enjoying that clear sky today. It makes for pretty sunsets. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, when we take them over as the 51st state, we can order them to stop the wildfires, right? I'll talk to the Trump administration about that. Forgive me. I mean, I didn't mean to nonsensically stop you. Please continue.
I could say so many things, but we'll leave it there. We'll leave it to the commentary online. Hey, our forecast today, though, is looking a bit hazy, like Ken mentioned, with the smoke that comes in through this afternoon. It's already here in some locations with the air quality dropping. Inland, I think you'll have better air quality. It's due to the effects of the sea breeze that keeps that smoke driving in toward the coastline today. So from Point Pleasant and Long Branch, very pretty sunset again, but you might have some poor air quality by the day's end. Also, it's still pollen season, especially with grasses and weeds on the moderate level. Molds have dropped thanks to the dry weather. You don't see any smoke on this map. This is just the satellite showing the clouds, and we are clear as a bell, nice and dry with cloud-free conditions. But in the upper atmosphere, that smoke is swirling and eventually drops down to the ground by the end of the day. You get plenty of UV today with the UV index at a 9, which is the highest so far this summer, meteorological summer, because an astronomical summer doesn't begin until the 20th. But going into the end of the day with the clear sky around, it looks just fine. Throughout tonight, as the humidity starts to rise, we won't drop off as cool. So tomorrow starts off in the 60s as opposed to the 40s in some spots this morning in New Jersey. We're back in the 90s tomorrow afternoon. Heat and humidity start to build and culminate in a 94-degree afternoon there in Newark, 95 by Thursday afternoon in Hackensack, and that heat and humidity sticks around. Speaking of, it gets sticky by tomorrow afternoon, specifically Thursday and Friday. The dew points are the measure of moisture in the atmosphere, the point where the air is saturated, helps these temperatures climb and feel like they're well above average. So that feels like temperature will be probably in the upper 90s going into Thursday and Friday, because where the dew point is approaching 70, that's downright Miami humidity, tropical levels of humidity. So it'll feel quite humid by the end of the week. There won't be a whole lot of sun, however, by Thursday. The clouds start to increase throughout the day, give us a gray and overcast sky, and even help promote a few showers that move in by the end of the day, only adding to that steamy feel. By Friday evening, the storm moves in from the west. It's a front. It should clear out by Sunday and then give us a dry second half of the weekend. So Sunday looks beautiful throughout the state. But I think Monday night into Tuesday has another quick line of showers. And once that passes by, we're back to clear sky throughout Wednesday. So the weekend weather is looking a bit wet to start, but it clears out quickly. Sunday, beautiful, 79 with less humidity. Definitely the second half of the weekend looking beautiful. Saturday, however, kind of cloudy, kind of showery. Not the best, but doable, if you will, right? Doable.
There we
We're
go.
trying to look at the bright side here.
You're always looking at the bright side. There we go. That's a good thing. So Friday and Sunday, enjoy yourself, and we pay for it with a little rain on Saturday because we need to. This way we don't get into drought. Okay, I got it. I took note. See, I took note. Mike, we'll check back. Thank you, sir. At 53 degrees now at 8:26. We take a look at this. This is the Garden State Parkway, mile marker 147.0. By exit 145, Sussex Avenue overpass in East Orange. You can just see some volume there. As the sun is hitting their eyes, a lot of folks are hitting the brakes, and they do that split there. One side of the exit there goes to the airport, and the other side goes into town. So you can see where the delays are occurring as people head toward the airport there toward the left. People are jamming in. We also have some roving repairs on Route 35 northbound, north of Route 36 in Eatontown to Broadway in Keyport with the right lane closed. Delays on the Jersey Turnpike, inside exit interchange 9 by Route 18 East Brunswick, all due to volume, and the inbound upper and lower levels of the GWB, not too bad right now. Actually, that is pretty good. That's about a 35 minute in time on the GWB. It's about 25 minutes at the Lincoln and 20 minutes at the Holland. Yeah, why are people going down the shoulder when they don't have to? Because traffic is actually moving. So it's like I could see if things are dead stopped, even that's bad, but things are moving. So don't go down the shoulder, sillies. Okay. 827, a University of Kansas professor is among the plaintiffs suing New Jersey to allow DNA testing of evidence from the 1932 Lindbergh baby kidnapping and murder case. The lawsuit was filed in Mercer County and challenges the state police's denial of access to case archives. Historian Jonathan Hagel says DNA from ransom notes could reveal if Bruno Hauptmann, executed in 1936, acted alone. The case gripped the nation back then. I was alive. It remains unsolved in the eyes of many scholars. The New Jersey Education Association has poured $40 million into a pro-Sean Spiller PAC, Working New Jersey is what it's called, to boost its president's gubernatorial campaign. Sean Spiller, the NJEA president, of course. The PAC spent $37.5 million to make Spiller a household name in a crowded six-way Democratic primary, funded entirely by NJEA's super PAC, Garden State Forward. Despite the massive ad blitz, recent polls show Spiller trailing, raising questions about the union's strategy. So the idea is you get the president of the union to become governor, and now all the teacher contracts are a cinch. That's the mindset. Unfortunately, it's all your thousands of dollars of dues going to pay for him to become governor, and if he doesn't become governor, you wasted your money. Critics, including some NJEA members, call the spending a misuse of teachers' dues, you think, while the union defends it as a stand for working families, of course, because how do you then criticize a stand for working families? But sir, my $5,000 dues are going to try to elect the guy governor when no one is actually donating to him. It's working families. Keep saying that. That's what liberals do. They always come up with slogans. 829, New Jersey added over 9,400 voters in May, with unaffiliated voters leading the surge, adding 4,472 new registrants. Republicans gained 2,768 voters. outpacing Dems, who added 2226. Their strongest showing, by the way, in months, because they had been losing voters for the last year and a half. Despite the GOP's 53-month streak of closing the gap, Democrats still hold an 827,000 voter lead, although a lot of those people do not show up. So the independents team up with the Republicans, and that's how Republicans end up getting elected in many cases. And we'll see what happens. The primaries coming up on Tuesday, June 10th. Newark Airport customers will see more flights and fewer delays after a closed runway reopened yesterday. Increased flight schedules are slated to resume June 15th. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy held a news conference at Newark Liberty's brand new Terminal A building yesterday, where he made the announcement that one of Newark's 11,000-foot runways had been closed for a while for repairs. It's now reopened 13 days ahead of schedule, and he thanked everybody for working very hard to do that.
And so we had a glitch in the system. The FAA did a remarkable job fixing the glitch in our software. But then Verizon stood up and said, you know what? We are going to make this a priority. We're going to fix the not-so-great line that goes from the Philly Tracon up to N90 here in New York. And they did that in record time, in less than a month's time. Now,
so that's a good thing. 8:30 is our time. And think of the New Jersey-based jobs that you've worked over the years. When you went into the job interview, we were like, how much are they going to offer me? Well, there's a new law that went into effect a couple of days ago. It requires most businesses to tell you the range of what they are offering for their job, so you have some idea when you go into it if it's a job you can afford to take. It's called the Pay and Benefit Transparency Act. The new law states that all businesses that have 10 or more employees, that's many in New Jersey, must post a salary range or hourly wage range for open positions. They must describe benefits associated with the job for the first year, and they must notify current employees of other available positions, among other things. Companies failing to comply could be fined. And residents, by the way, will gather later this week to honor a Hudson County Sheriff's officer who died while working. It was a tragic fall from a building. 29-year-old Officer Justin Rivera died Friday after falling through a 9th-floor window in the administrative building in New Jersey's Jersey City. A candle lighting ceremony and balloon release will take place tomorrow night, 8 o'clock in Bayonne Park. Rivera used to be a police officer in Bayonne. If you'd like to take part and honor his memory, you are asked to bring a red, black, or blue balloon. Those were Rivera's favorite colors. And court documents show the Boulder, Colorado domestic terrorism suspect spent a whole year preparing to hurl Molotov cocktails into a peaceful pro-Israel march. Mohammed Sabri Solomon, an Egyptian national whose visa, which was granted during the Biden administration, expired months and months ago, and Biden's people let him stay. Apparently, he told federal authorities the violence was a long time in the making. In an interview with the feds, the suspect said that he was waiting for his daughter's graduation before carrying out the attack, because as the good dad that he is, he wanted to be at his daughter's graduation, then get arrested for potentially killing other people. Father of the Year. Investigators say on Sunday, Solomon crashed the pro-Israel gathering by throwing flaming Molotov cocktails at 12 innocent Jews who were gathered there while shouting "Free Palestine." He was quickly arrested. The dozen received serious burns over much of their bodies. One person remains in critical. Fortunately, though, nobody was killed. Yet another nation has elected a populist president in the vein of Donald Trump. In Poland, Trump-backed nationalist Karol Nawrocki clinched the presidency in that nation's presidential election yesterday in a tight runoff race that spells trouble for the country's current pro-EU government. A final count showed Nawrocki secured 51% of the votes against the Liberals, getting 49%. And by the way, all the leftist media there was saying, oh, the Liberals are going to win, the Liberals are going to win. Oh, he's way ahead in the polls. Seems to always be the case because they always tend to skew liberal with the questioning. And by the way, notice how the left loves to suggest people on the right pose a violent threat and that only people on the right cause vandalism. Well, not so much. Apparently, vandals cut the flowers off of 250 peony plants at the Arboretum at the University of Michigan. They were all leftists, and they did it for Palestine. It's peak peony season, some of the prettiest flowers on the planet. And this note there apparently says that you should replace your American flag with Palestinian flags this summer. Violence is all the left seems to know. So when they say that it's the right wing that causes all the protests and the rioting, no, it's the left wing that always does it. I do not know of a right wing protest causing that kind of violence. It is 8:34. The phone lines are open. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says sunny, hazy, warmer today, highs in the low to mid 80s. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We'll be back in 1 minute. Good morning. It is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, 54 degrees at 8:35. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Sunny, hazy, warmer today, highs in the low to mid 80s. It'll get warmer over the next few days throughout the state. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with your detailed Garden State forecast. Hello, Mike.
Hey there, Ken. Lots of sunshine today, but really warm and humid by the end of the week. So even though it's clear right now and dry, it's our sunniest day yet. Have plenty of sunshine around this afternoon and tomorrow. It does turn warmer tomorrow, but the humidity really starts to build in through the end of the week with rain coming in for Friday night, only adding to the steamy feel. Cooler today at the coast, but a little bit poorer air quality, and we'll get to that in a minute due to the wildfire smoke coming in from Canada out toward places like Hamilton and west of the Parkway. By Millville and Glassboro, temperatures easily touching the low 80s today. So with that clear sky around, it'll look pretty until we get to sunset. It'll look gorgeous, but that's all due again to the wildfire smoke, which is actually coming around from the east, even though it's originating from the west. It's all due to the upper atmospheric winds that's taking the wildfire smoke from Canada, driving it down through the Midwest, the deep south, and then making a left turn back here into the coast in New Jersey. So that will bring air quality down to the 94, which is on a scale of 0 to 100, where 100 is being usually the worst, is what we see here in New Jersey on any given day due to wildfire smoke. That starts to get into the poor areas. The scale goes up to 500, which we usually don't see those. Remember when the sky turned orange last summer and you walked outside and you couldn't even see because your eyes were burning? That was like a 300. So again, we're far from dangerous, but it's maybe a word to the wise for those that are sensitive to particulate matter. Those with asthma need to keep it indoors today if you're down along the coast due to that wildfire smoke. Beyond that, we're dry throughout today and tomorrow. Rain chances increase for Friday and Saturday, specifically Friday night going into Saturday when the front approaches from the west. And I think a weather sensor might be on the fritz here along the turnpike, putting in air quality, poor air quality there, but I think that'll clear itself. Beyond that, we stay dry through this afternoon. Lots of sunshine as the high slides offshore. That gives us more of a southwesterly wind that warms us into the afternoon on Thursday. And then the clouds start to increase for Friday as the front moves in from the west. You see, it's kind of a dry front. It may not be a whole lot of rain, maybe a few passing showers throughout the day on Saturday, just heavy on the clouds and ultimately drying out for Sunday with less humidity once that front passes. So we have a surge of heat and humidity by the time Thursday and Friday roll around, clouds for the end of the week and the beginning of the weekend, and then turning sunny yet again for Sunday into Monday with highs in the upper 70s. I think the shore points are a little bit cooler. Again, poorer air quality throughout today and tomorrow until that high pushes the smoke out to sea. And then by Saturday and Sunday, we start off wet but turn dry by the end of the weekend with ultimately seasonable weather, Ken, to kick off July or June. It's June.
Sure. You're really pushing it. There we go. Thank you. Welcome to September. All right, Mike, we appreciate you, sir. 53 degrees now, 8:38. We take a look at one of the big traffic spots we have right now. We had no problems 5 minutes ago on the GWB. Now there's an accident once you get over to the New York side. So take a look at the 8095 approach and the upper level on your right. This is where you have the accident. So as you come across on the upper level, there is an accident just on the other side of the GWB. That's causing the slowdowns. The lower level is actually moving okay. In fact, it's almost empty. So if you can, take the lower level, which is on your left, and you'll have no problems. It's only about 25 minutes on the lower level. It's now 45 to 50 on the upper, making your way into Manhattan. The Lincoln is 30 minutes, and the Holland is 20. If you are looking for the perfect way to kick off the summer at the Jersey Shore, look no further than Asbury Fest, a local tradition now in its 16th year. Joining us this morning is Matthew Whelan, who is the executive director of the Asbury Park Chamber of Commerce, to tell you what is in store for this year's big weekend. Matthew, good morning. One of my favorite communities, Asbury Park.
Good morning, Ken. Good morning.
It,
Yeah,
it's
we're
great.
we're very we're
Asbury
very
Park.
excited.
It's a treasure. It is a treasure. And I always like to call it the gateway to the Jersey Shore, because if you're coming down from northern New Jersey, it's the first great place to stop, and
Yeah.
it has everything, great restaurants, great beaches. So tell us about the 16th year of Asbury Fest. What makes this festival such a staple?
So Asbury Fest is celebrating Asbury Park. We've got a lot of the things that you'd expect in Asbury Park: live music, great food, unique craft vendors. We've got games. It's a great family-friendly event. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend, and hopefully the weather holds out for us all weekend long. But yeah, it's gonna be a great event. Like I said, we got live music all 3 days from all local artists. So yeah, bring the family. It's a great time.
Well, just a heads up, our meteorologist, Mike Favetta, said it's going to be nice on Friday, nice on Sunday. Saturday's hit and miss. But you know what? The nice thing about Asbury Park, as opposed to some of the communities that are just beaches, if it does start to rain, you could go inside. There are great restaurants and great attractions. In fact, you probably know my friend, the Garrett, who is the public information officer, I think, for the fire department. He's done every
Yep.
role in the city of Asbury Park. Garrett,
Yes, he
I
has.
met him. I remember going with my husband to Asbury Park one year to the beach. We got on the beach and it started to rain 5 minutes later, and we walked across the street from the beach into a restaurant bar just to have a cocktail and to kind of wait
Hmm.
out the rain. And he was off duty and he walked in at that moment, and that's how we met. We've been friends 20 years. So that's the great thing about Asbury Park. You could do that there.
Yeah, the festival is in Bradley Park, which is right in front of Convention Hall. So should the weather turn sour, you can go right next door to the Wonder Bar, into the Grand Arcade at Convention Hall. There's all kinds of things to do. So come to Asbury Park this weekend.
And yeah, and you got such great history, the music history in Asbury Park too. I mean,
Oh
it is
yeah.
talk about Stone Pony, talk about all the history that you have there.
The history, yeah, we've got the Stone Pony, which everyone knows. I mean, the close relationship between Asbury Park and Bruce Springsteen is well documented. But going back even further than that, we have some jazz legends that started on the west side in Asbury Park. Asbury Park has got such a rich music history. It We've got the Music Foundation that's helping to preserve that history, as well as the Historical Society that's helping to preserve that history, both of which will be at Asbury Fest. So, yeah, we've got a lot here in Asbury.
And it's one of the most diverse communities in America. You have everybody represented there, everybody of every color, creed, race, nationality. That's the beautiful part about that community. And everybody is welcome. It's just one big, fun, wonderful place to visit. So
Yeah.
what are some of the vendors? You talk about the different vendors. Tell us about some of the vendors who are involved and what kinds do you have there?
So as far as food vendors go, we have all kinds of things. We've got Baked Bear, which is custom-made ice cream sandwiches. We've got the Cousin's Maine Lobster, who does the lobster rolls. They have a spot up on the boardwalk as well. We've got Row Beans for people first thing in the morning. That's got fresh-made coffee to have. We've got corn vendors that are doing roasted corn, fresh seafood place, empanadas. There's so many options. There's something for just about every palate. And then we also will have Asbury Park Brewery there with beers from the Asbury Park Brewery for people to have as well. Then we've got a bunch of craft vendors ranging from everything from jerky to jewelry to clothing, dog treats, you name it. We've
That's
got at
it. By
least
the
three
way,
dozen
another thing.
craft vendors.
It's such a great pet-friendly city. That's enough. Thank you for
Yeah.
mentioning the dog treats. It's every restaurant. It's like being in Greenwich Village. Every restaurant puts out a bowl for your dog to get some water, right? It's very, very
Yeah,
pet-friendly. It's a
some of them
great
have a
place.
doggy menu. There are restaurants where you can actually order a burger for your dog.
I love it. I love only Asbury Park. That is
Yep.
so fun. And by the way, that's one of the other nice things. No matter how hot the day, no matter how packed the community, I almost always am able to find a parking space on the lot because the lot goes back. The municipal parking is ample. You could always
Yep.
park, and then you don't have to worry about your car. It's right there. You go and enjoy the beach, and you could walk to everything. It's so great for that.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
know.
Well,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
a lot of people don't realize that Asbury Park is only 1.4 square miles total. It seems like it's this huge city because you've got so much jam packed
Right.
into it, but it's really the whole city's walkable.
It's great. Truly one of my favorite places in New Jersey to attend. It's funny because I've lived in New Jersey since 2002, but because I have my other home in South Florida, I tend to get on a plane and go to South Florida as opposed to enjoying the Jersey Shore. But when I do, 90% of the time it's Asbury Park because it's an easy ride. I got to see my buddy Garrett, and it's just a fun place to hang out. What's a website for people to go to get more information about the festival and the city?
They can go to asburyfest.com. That'll bring them right to the Asbury Fest page of the Asbury Park Chamber website. And from there, they can also look at all the other stuff on our Asbury Park Chamber website about other things going on in the city. But that'll bring them right to the Asbury Fest page. So it's Asbury Fest, ASBURYFEST.com.
One of the greatest treasures of New Jersey, Asbury Park. Matthew Whalen, Executive Director of the Asbury Park Chamber of Commerce. Have a wonderful time this weekend and through the summer. I'll pop by and say hi when I'm down there next. Have a wonderful time and
Sounds
enjoy
good.
it. And love Asbury Park. Go Asbury Park. You bet, my
Thank you,
friend.
Ken.
You bet. Thank you. Sunny, hazy, warmer today. If you want to head to Asbury Park, perfect for that. A little chillier at the shore, but still beautiful. Highs in the low to mid 80s. It'll get warmer over the next few days. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a final check of the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Ken. Yeah, loved the dog menus in Asbury Park. Very cool to get like a plate of pasta for your pooch while you're dining outdoors as well. Great weather to dine al fresco today. Look at these highs climbing into the low 80s with low humidity, feeling pleasant back over toward Newton and Hackettstown, right there on Lake Apatcong. Wonderful weather to enjoy. We are drought free, so those reservoirs have filled up quickly thanks to the more than double the amount of rain we've had in the last month. And so there's no rainfall deficit either. Our dry weather persists with warming trends, at least in the next 2 weeks. That's for us here in New Jersey. And if you're making travel plans down south, it stays warm there as well beyond the 7-day. And even though there's a slightly higher than average chance of rainfall, it's minimal going into the middle of June. Our forecast is dry but humid by the end of this week, with the rain coming in for Friday night. First the clouds, then the showers, and then some more showers on Saturday with just a kind of an unstable day. There might be a few spotty sprinkles, ultimately clouds, but temperatures stay in the 70s with the sunshine returning by Sunday. Same for you at the shore with clear sky throughout the middle of the week. Saturday brings back the rain, and then Sunday has a high of 75 and sunny. I think Sunday easily the better half of the weekend with all that clear sky, Ken.
Very nice, sir. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day and head down to the shore.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. All right, Mike, we'll check in tomorrow. It is 8:47 right now. In terms of traffic, we have a crash on I-295 southbound north of exit 28, which is Black Horse Pike and Haddon Heights. The right lane of the 3 lanes closed and the right shoulder is closed as well. Roving repairs on Route 35 northbound north of Route 36 in Eatontown to Broadway and Keyport with the right lane of the 2 lanes closed. We have issues now at the Lincoln Tunnel. We have delays at the South Tunnel eastbound. All lanes are open, but it's volume causing issues from the Turnpike exit 16E into New York. And right now we're told it's 35 minutes travel time. So that just picked up in the last few minutes. It's about 30 minutes of the Holland. Take a look at the approach, 8095 approach to the GWB. And if you look on the right side, you see the upper level versus the lower on the left. There is an accident on the Manhattan side of the GWB on the upper level. So that's what's causing those problems on that right side. If you're headed to the GWB and going over into Manhattan, take the lower level. You can see it's flying. Right now, lower level is only about 25 minutes, and you got 45 to 50 minutes on the upper level getting into Manhattan. So that is our advice to get in if you don't want to have a headache and stress out. And we have delays on the Turnpike Eastern Spur northbound from the Southern Mixing Bowl to south of Interchange 15W I-280 in Newark as a 2.5-mile delay, all due to volume. And we have also delays on the Turnpike, inner and outer roadways northbound from north of Interchange 12, Carteret, Rahway, and Linden to north of Interchange 13. Again, that's about a 1.5-mile delay. Again, all due to volume. 8:49 right now, 53 degrees. 2 Elizabeth men, Dalvin Javier Sanchez and Javier Criado, were arrested in a Somerset County firearms probe. A May 7th raid on 2 homes uncovered 8 handguns, including an Uzi-style weapon and a ghost gun, plus high-capacity magazines, hollow point ammo, 12 pounds of marijuana, and cash. Both individuals face multiple charges, including illegal firearms possession and drug distribution, and they're being held at the Somerset County Jail. 8:49, Hoboken police have arrested 24 people after a 2-month investigation into illegal drug activity near the 300 block of Jackson Street. After a number of complaints from residents, the HPD Street Crimes Unit seized 36 grams of crack cocaine, 106 grams of heroin, nearly $700 in cash. 9 are facing serious drug distribution charges, carrying up to 10 years in prison. It's 8:50. Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala faces allegations of fixing over 250 parking tickets since 2005, all dismissed, according to a whistleblower's letter to prosecutors. The claims raised just before the June 10th Assembly primary allege improper dismissals by Hoboken's municipal court. Bala's team calls it a smear campaign timed to his competitive race for the 32nd district. Bala denies any wrongdoing as the crowded Democratic primary heats up. 8:50, Jennifer Nelson, wife of Manalapan Mayor Eric Nelson, was charged with third-degree theft on Friday. Freehold Township police say the 52-year-old allegedly stole some $5,200 in cash and jewelry from a home where she worked as a housekeeper for 8 years. Police say some items were found at a pawn shop. Mayor Nelson, who's running for re-election, has not commented. New Jersey lawmakers advanced a bill to make the state's vaccine registry opt out by default, passing the Senate Health Committee on a 5-3 vote. The measure allows health officials to mandate registry inclusion during public health emergencies. Despite those opt-out requests, however, Senator Joe Vitale insists privacy and exemptions remain protected, but critics like Senator Holly Schapisi warn that it could undermine personal choice. Inflation numbers are the best in 4 years under the Trump administration, 2.31%. That's down from 3.36% a year ago under President Biden. By the way, if you check the price of eggs lately, they're down 62% since President Trump's inauguration day. They were $6.55 a dozen under Biden. They're now $2.52 a dozen under Trump. The media has ignored the story. You don't hear anything about eggs being down so much by anyone in mainstream media, or they still think eggs are high because many of the snots in mainstream media don't do their own food shopping, so they still think eggs are $7 a dozen when they're only $2.50 a dozen. You simply don't hear a word about it. That's it. Trump accomplished this, by the way, just a few months. He promised it, and once again, promises made, promises kept. 8:52, great news for the Trump economy. More great news, that is. The Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank predicts an astounding 4.6% annual growth in the second quarter of 2025. So we're in the second quarter now, just wrapped up second quarter. So that is the prediction by the Fed based on the numbers that are in so far. That is for the U.S. gross domestic product, or GDP. This, by the way, would be the strongest quarterly expansion since 2021. Now, wasn't it just a month ago that all the Wall Street leftists said Trump destroyed the economy? He ruined any chance for winning Congress for the Republicans come next year because he's destroyed the economy by imposing those tariffs. Well, maybe all the so-called money experts on Wall Street, who are all Democrats, by the way, should take a lesson from the billionaire in the White House. Just saying. 8:53, we've been telling you that 64 Tesla superchargers will be removed from the New Jersey Turnpike as the Highway Authority ends Tesla's contract, opting instead for a company called Apple Green, who would install 240 universal EV chargers across all 21 service areas. Now, the problem with Apple Green is they just don't, experts will tell you, they're not as fast, they break down more often, they're simply not as good as Tesla. That's not me, that's people in the know who use Apple Green products throughout the country. They're better for the non-Tesla vehicles. Tesla vehicles have a bigger, better battery base than a lot of other EVs, and so they require high-speed supercharge facilities. So if you're going to use Apple Green on a Tesla with the adapter, it takes a lot longer. That's why. So Elon Musk called the move corruption on X, but Tesla says, don't worry, for all you Tesla customers, Tesla has already built 116 off-turnpike stalls ready for customers so they won't suffer. The problem is now, if you're driving on the highway, you've got to get off the highway, drive a couple of miles, cause traffic, encounter traffic, burn more electricity in order to find a Tesla charger. Or you could use the Apple Green chargers, but the Apple Green chargers are going to take 3 times as long to use. Well, the company being Tesla, offered to add adapters to Tesla superchargers. So basically any model car could use them. State said, nope, we don't like you now. You like the conservatives, so screw you. That's what happens when you have childlike liberals in charge in Trenton. You know, you keep voting Democrat in New Jersey. Oh, good guys like him. He's a good guy. I'll vote him in. Stop being a dope. Stop voting Democrat. And remember that the state office holders matter. Whom you vote for Assembly and State Senate matters. And when you don't show up to vote for State Assembly and State Senate, it matters. Problem is you only get about 15 to 20% of the people show up to vote for those state offices. So only the hardcore liberals show up and they keep voting the same Democrats in over and over again, which is why we have these problems. So initially, by the way, Apple Green was voted in as the compromise 2 years ago. They were going to come in, but initially it was going to be side by side. You were going to have Apple Green chargers and Tesla chargers. But since Elon is now friends with Donald, all the libs in the state wanted Tesla superchargers out. Well, use your inferior electric vehicles and use your inferior electric chargers. Tesla people know where to go to get their superchargers, and they will continue going there and probably not patronize Apple Green. 8:55, and we're having a technical problem right at the end. Newark Airport customers will see more flights and fewer delays after a closed runway reopened yesterday. Increased flight schedules slated to resume in just a couple of weeks on June 15th. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy held a news conference at Newark Liberty's brand new Terminal A building, where he made the announcement that one of Newark's 11,000-foot runways that had been closed for repairs for a couple of months has reopened 13 days ahead of schedule. And he thanked everybody for working very hard to do that.
And so we had a glitch in the system. The FAA did a remarkable job fixing the glitch in our software. But then Verizon stood up and said, you know what? We are going to make this a priority. We're going to fix the not-so-great line that goes from the Philly Tracon up to N90 here in New York. And they did that in record time, in less than a month's time. Now,
the announcement followed weeks of canceled and delayed flights at Newark Airport due to shortage of air traffic controllers, software problems, and infrastructure issues, and of course the closed runway. The FAA has been slowing arrivals and departures at the airport due to the problems, leaving thousands of passengers with delayed flights or cancellations. And court documents show the Boulder, Colorado domestic terrorism suspect spent a year preparing to hurl those Molotov cocktails into a peaceful pro-Israel march. Mohammed Sabri Solomon, an Egyptian national whose visa, which was granted during the Biden administration, expired some time ago, he overstayed his visa, told federal authorities the violence was a long time in the making. In an interview with the feds, the suspect said the reason why he hadn't done this earlier, he was waiting for his daughter's graduation before he would carry out the attack. Father of the year he is. Investigators say on Sunday, Solomon crashed the pro-Israel gathering by throwing flaming Molotov cocktails at 12 of the Jews who were gathered there while shouting "Free Palestine." He was arrested shortly after. The dozen received burns over much of their bodies, some very seriously hurt, and they are hospitalized. One person in critical condition. The good news is nobody got killed. And New Jersey state senators clashed yesterday over a resolution that urges the Board of Public Utilities to probe PJM Interconnection's capacity market auction after a nearly tenfold electricity price hike hit consumers. The measure passed 25 to 12 along party lines, the Democrats, of course, causing the problems, blaming PJM's slow approval of renewable projects for supply shortages. The Republicans did that blame. Republicans say that Governor Murphy's renewable energy push and stalled offshore wind projects are driving the costs, which demand surging from AI data centers and electrification. The resolution awaits Assembly approval, while a separate bill to study data centers is to Murphy's desk. And that does it for On New Jersey for your Tuesday morning. I'm Ken Rosato. Mike says it's going to be sunny today, hot, 82 to 85 temperature, little hazy sunshine. We'll see you again tomorrow morning, starting at 7 a.m. Have a good day.